R&B Money. We up. Tank. J Valentine. We are the authorities on all things R&B.
Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? I am Tank.
I'm J Valentine.
And this is the R&B Money Podcast.
Yes, it is.
The authority on all things R&B. Ooh.
Silky R&B.
Silky R&B.
Yeah. I ain't by myself no more.
Girl, you ain't by yourself no more. Quality vocal.
Birdman hair and rub.
Quality. You better rub your hands together, boy. You got a brother in arms in here today. This man is, I mean, listen, before the cameras came on, we were talking about the difference between an R&B singer, an R&B artist, and a recording artist. He's all of them. He's a monster. And I got a bone to pick with him. But we'll get there. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Mr. Kenny Lattimore.
Yeah.
In the building.
Yeah.
In the building.
Thanks for having me.
All right. So we're going to circle back to this because we love, on our pod, we started at the beginning. We are informative. We want to see where it came from, how it grew, how it got here, and all of that stuff. But I have to pick this bone with you first.
Okay.
Pick this with you. Okay. I love you, but there's a small plate of beef, right? I get called to sing at this wedding.
Oh, you gonna start it off? Oh, I know where this is going.
Wasn't quite Tank yet.
Okay.
Still derail.
I love it.
I said, once you sing at our wedding, we want you to sing the song by Kenny Lattimore, For You. I said, that should be easy. Could do that. Not a lot of vocal acrobatics in that one. Very straight ahead. Should be able to knock that out. Got the words, wrote the words down a little bit. Okay, all right, it's a lot of words. Okay. Let me try the first verse at home. Try the first verse. Oh, yeah, I can knock this out. All the words kind of go the same. I'll figure it out on the spot. Get to the wedding, and I start singing this song. This is the first selection. You know, as the bride and groom look at me, they're already posted. The family's looking at me outside wedding. And as I'm getting through that first hook, I'm just feeling slightly a little bit beat up.
After the first hook.
First hook. Man, my vocals ain't...
They ain't vocal.
I ain't vocaling right. It's not standing strong. As I go midway through the second verse, I'm losing it. I am losing... My vocal is getting weary. Vocal cords are getting tired completely. Yeah. My vocal cords are getting so tired that I have the words right in front of me. I start to go blind. I cannot read the words to save my life. I can't see them. I'm sweating now, okay? By the second hook, I'm trying to get through the hook. I just start to ad-lib and freestyle.
You do it in that movie. Welcome to the candy shop.
I start candy shopping your record.
Wow.
I didn't know. I had no idea what it took to sing that song.
Yeah,
and I thought I knew.
Yeah.
And
It's a difficult song, and so you're okay.
No, because you can do it. So there's the beef.
But I had
you could
to
have
sing
put a
it
warning.
a million times.
You could have put a warning label on the record. I know you
Don't
nice,
try this home.
but don't try
this at home.
try this at home first.
Try it at home first.
Before you do it at the wedding.
But I'm gonna tell you though, I was the same way. When I first got the song, one of my buddies wrote this. It was literally his wedding song, Kenny Lattimore, a very unassuming and incredible songwriter. Kenny, I got this song because I'm getting married to Ellen. You know, I love her so much, and I wrote this song for her. I was like, oh, okay. So he says, hear the words first.
Right. Put out a scroll.
And I said, oh my God. Fidelity. I mean, it was like these big words. And I was like, whoa.
In the song.
And I said, wow, I don't know how I'm going to sing these words. So then he went back. It's like a day later. He said, this is how the melody goes. And when he sang the melody, I was like, wow, this is brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. I get how each thing fits. Then it was going into the studio, being the recording artist. I was like, whew. I'm glad I didn't have to sing it live, like straight down first.
Right.
Because I would have fallen apart too. I was like, where's the breath?
Right.
Okay, I got all that out. Where are all of these nuances going to come from? And how do I take, once I got to the bridge, I was like, whoa, I don't even know. We had to really work it out.
Yeah.
And once we did, though, the great Barry Eastman produced it.
Yeah.
And once we worked it out, then I still had to figure out, and this is in every song for me live, where does it fit in my body? I don't know if you ever feel that way. Like, where does it fit? Because it's something different when you're moving and breathing and doing everything all at once and delivering a song, and you want it to sound like people remember it sounding. So I had to really grow into it. And thank God it's been the saving song. I haven't had any crash and burns on it. I should have had one crash and burn. I'm just giving y'all some real R&B stuff.
Yeah.
I was on tour with Barry White when I first came out, and I was like constantly
your
on the
first
road.
tour
My
was Barry-
first tour, I was with Barry White. So I'm taking notes because the maestro was coming out, giving it to him every night. He had this way of, he'd walk out real slow, and he'd say, "Good evening." That
And they
voice,
go crazy.
And the women would,
They go crazy.
and Ecstasy was playing in the background. So if you can imagine, Ecstasy is thumping. And he's walking out real slow. I was like, I'm going to do that. Okay, I'm taking this. I'm taking that.
But it's not going to be good. It's gonna, good evening.
Right. I'll be whispering out. So
Everybody all right out there?
right. Are y'all all right? Yeah.
Don't do that to me, too.
Right.
Don't you do that.
I took some stuff from him too. Yeah, definitely have. But it was crazy. I was working so hard that I remember my manager and the label said, "We want you to do for the executives, the black executives." And at that time, it was powerful black executives. We get in this room, and it was the first time that I ever was completely burned out, and I didn't know what was happening. So you talking about, I was like, "For you, I'd give a life." I was like, I could barely sing anything. Like literally, I could not produce a note, and I'd never felt that way in my entire life. And I'm in front of the biggest executives in the industry.
That's usually how it works.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? But in a way, I'm feeling like I'm glad I was in front of them instead of the audience. They were forgiving, and I think they understood what I was going through as a new artist coming out more than it would have been crazy if I had somebody that paid their money.
Yeah, but it was somebody in the marketing department like, he's been on tour. He's, he's 30 nights in.
Right. They covering it up.
You have you have what I like to call a classic voice.
Thank you.
And it's a voice that it's straight ahead. It's doing everything it needs to do. Straight ahead. Like, Luther didn't have to do anything. He'll throw you some woo, 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 woo. He'll throw that in there. He'll get that to it, you know what I'm saying? And that's exciting, but straight ahead, it's monstrous.
Yeah. He was.
You have that kind of voice where just straight ahead, nothing else.
Pure tone.
Pure tone and vibrato and richness. Like a Josh Groban, like just straight ahead is enough. Like yours is in a tuxedo or some jeans and a polo shirt. Like doesn't matter. Like you've done it with the textures of music or the sonics of music that you've performed on, where you go as a For You or I'm not too busy, or when you groove it like
I appreciate it.
So let's go back.
Okay. I really appreciate that.
Let's start at the beginning, right?
Okay.
When did somebody say, "That boy nice right there. That boy got something. He gonna be somebody"? Or when did you, in your mind, have the moment where you were like, "Oh shit"?
My mom. A lot of times your mother is like, "Oh, my baby can sing," and my mother. So my mom was like, "Hey, was that you singing?" She just heard me around the house one day. And she just said, "Do you want to take voice lessons?" I didn't know what voice lessons was. I was like, but whatever it is, as long as I'm not in trouble, why not? Take
How old
voice
are you
lessons.
at this point?
12.
Okay.
About 12 years old.
Okay.
Now, I had sung the first time I remember singing in front of people, I was 10, and I was in the neighborhood. One of my friends, Andrea, was like, "Kenny can sing," or they call me Kenneth. Kenneth can sing. Back then it's like to change your name,
Marilyn
change it to Kenneth. Yep, exactly. So she brought all the girls in the neighborhood together, and she asked me to sing a song, and I sang a little song. I think I was singing like the Emotions. Remember the Emotions? They used to have a bunch of harmony stuff, high voice. You walk in the line, you turn my life around. I just started singing this falsetto kind of stuff.
10?
Yeah, 10. At 10.
Yeah, you was popular on that
And
block.
the girls started screaming.
Yeah, that's how it starts.
I bet they did.
I was like, wow, But it was my mom who said, do you want to take voice lessons? And it took everything to another level because she felt like I had something different. And I didn't think I was any different. I thought everybody sang. My family members sang, my sister, my grandfather sang. I used to be intimidated to sing in front of my grandfather, though, because he had one of the big, heavy voices.
Yeah.
And he'd roll his R's when he sang in the church, because mainly it was church stuff. So she had me start doing voice lessons, and I sang songs like, I left my heart in San Francisco, upon a hill it called to me.
Oh, yeah. You was getting to it.
So I'm starting
Yeah.
with
He's nice.
that.
Can we just pause right
As
there?
opposed
He's
to-
nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's way too easy, too.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Bro, if you did like, what's my Vegas guy?
You said Vegas?
If you did Frank Sinatra.
Frank Sinatra.
Oh,
Frank
yeah.
Sinatra.
Oh,
wow.
my God.
I'm working on it now.
Ooh.
Trust me, I record
Big
very
band?
soon. The is it next month? It's next month. I start next month on the orchestra.
Bro, you go big band with that? Okay, I'm sorry. So,
But we're gonna do a little. We're gonna do a combination. We're gonna do some American songbook like that because that's how I started. With some classical because I did the classical and the languages and all that. But I'm also you're gonna hear Never Too Busy with the orchestra.
ooh.
So
I need you need to invite me. I need to put my clothes on.
I need to put my clothes on.
And I
clothes
will.
on, man.
I'm gonna let y'all know when things happen, just in case. 'Cause I know you got busy schedules.
No.
We
gonna
pulling
be
up.
there. Okay, so classes, you're learning, you're perfecting the tool.
And I felt like I didn't want to be a singer with any boundaries. I think Marvin Gaye
Even
was
from a
like
young
that.
age?
At a young age, once I sang I Left My Heart in San Francisco and Unforgettable and all that, I started going, I wonder what else I can do. I was deathly shy growing up. Music saved my life. I was deathly shy. Like I'd be very uncomfortable having this conversation back then as a young kid. And but music gave me purpose. Like people could see me.
Wow.
They could see me if I sang. So when I heard myself eventually recorded and all that, I was like, what else can I do? So I started singing chamber music, and I was singing classical, and I won a scholarship for in the Maryland schools. I was a Maryland Distinguished Scholar for singing Ich grolle nicht und wenn das Herz auch bricht, wie verloren es lieb. Hey, wie verloren es lieb, ich grolle nicht. Stuff.
Why did he look at me
classical
like I was
stuff,
going to know?
Yeah, thanks. Hey.
I don't know, brother. No, I don't.
So I went to Morgan State,
Yes. Oh, amazing.
which represented
Amazing.
the U.S. in classical music
Yeah,
under
man.
Dr. Carter.
Ooh, yeah.
And I got a scholarship because he just thought I was, he described me as a major talent.
Yes.
He said, just come. I said, well, who do I talk to? You just talk to him.
Talk to me. You just talk to him.
Okay, all right.
That's what's up.
And I get to class, first day of school, and they pass everybody these sheets.
Oh, boy.
And Dr.
Read
Conway,
that,
who's playing the piano, comes, keys him up. Dr. Carter says, okay, he would grunt. He was like, talk like this, but he had perfect pitch. Talk like that, perfect pitch, looked like James Brown. Afro and everything. Leather jacket, leather boots, the whole
Wait,
thing.
so he talked like Bishop Cognac?
He talked like a combination of Bishop Cognac and Grover.
Okay.
But he had, imagine perfect pitch in this. You're not on D, I need you to be on the F. I said the G,
Wow,
like, who said you?
Yeah.
Stop it. Right? He was that.
Man, yeah.
And he said, and everybody said, Kathy Shaw. And I was like,
Yeah, man.
where y'all at?
It's intimidating. It's intimidating.
Y'all thought I was Kenny Lattimore.
Y'all thought I was kidding. I am not. Where y'all at again? Because I can't see.
Oh man.
Oh y'all flipped the page over. Okay. All right. So when you start saying that, like, I get it, but I never got it.
Oh man, I understand. And I feel like I was okay. I'm an okay sight reader, but because we don't have to use it as much.
But you got the tone. You figured out the
man,
tone.
thank you.
I didn't
but
have
you
to
know,
know
I
that.
had them. They kicked my. I went to Howard.
Wait, you got kicked out?
No, they kicked my behind.
Oh, I thought
Oh,
she
yeah,
got kicked you
yeah.
out.
I went to Howard and I studied with Dr. Leroy Dorsey, who taught Roberta Flack and Donny Hathaway and Angela Bush and all them. And when you're talking about that instructor, he would grab my throat. If I started singing in my throat, he'd grab my throat. He's a pretty flamboyant guy. He'd be like, get off your throat. And I'd be singing, drink to me only with thine eyes. And he was like really hardcore about things being perfect. But he said, I'm going to work with you because, again, somebody affirmed me and said, something about you. And each instructor that I had did something different. There was a woman named Janet Helms, who I love dearly, who also was from Howard. She taught me like how to really be grounded as a singer. Leroy Dorsey taught me power. There was another instructor, James Holliday, who taught me falsetto. He was fascinated with he was like, I want you to be able to go up and down from your falsetto and back without hearing a break. So at some point in my life, I was able to do it. I can't do that now. But it was like each person found something different to challenge me on.
Yeah.
And in addition to all of that, I just kept feeling like I want to be able to sing any type of music at any point and be really good unless I'm not good.
So they were
And if I'm not, then
training. They were training your voice the same way the athletes are training in their sport.
Absolutely.
Like shooting coach or a hitting coach, or you know what I mean. Like
Handles.
they were literally breaking your voice down.
Absolutely. Yep.
That's
They would break
amazing.
down each aspect
Because you
of it.
don't find that in many singers where their story goes back to literally somebody picking it apart.
Yeah.
And building it up,
Yeah.
obviously. Because you just named, 5 or 6 different teachers who taught you different things.
completely. And the first person, my first vocal instructor, Marilyn Morris, it was just breathing. And they focused on my breathing. That was the basics. She was my first vocal instructor. But each one, definitely, they gave me something different until I got to the point where I could combine it all. But it was the classical technique that helped me survive because I sang in bars and clubs, too. I was in a group called Mannequin when I was back at home in D.C., and we were signed to Epic Records.
Yeah.
Man, we would do 5 and 6 45-minute sets per night
What?
in bars and clubs.
Wait.
Totally unrealistic.
Say it one more time. Say it one more time so the
You
people in the back.
understand. 5 and 6 45-minute sets per night doing covers. And I didn't have to sing every single set, every single song, but I'm saying, so even if you broke it down to like 3 45-minute sets.
Because
of
the
me
extra
singing,
Wiley was in this group with you.
He did. He was a part of that, yeah.
Dang, do you remember To the Extreme?
He sure was.
Cry No More.
Yes.
That was my joint.
Yeah.
That was my joint.
Yeah.
Cry no more.
He was in the group with him.
And Johnny Gill's brother, Randy, was in there. with
That
him,
I
too.
didn't know.
I didn't know that.
Johnny
Wait, was
Gill's
in
brother.
y'all group with y'all too?
No, DX
Oh, was in.
group.
Yeah. He was in To the Extreme. Yes, I did
yeah.
know that. I did know
So
that.
our DC thing was really special, and I feel like I was really blessed because I did get a chance to meet like Stacey Lattisaw and Johnny and all, and they're all still, everybody's still close, and Tony Braxton. I remember Tony Braxton coming into a Mannequin session because she was a fan of Mannequin when I was in there, and she was like, well, people say that I sound like a boy because my voice is, lower and as rich as her voice is. And she said, but there's this new lady, this is not sure how long ago this was, but it's this new lady out, and her name Anita Baker.
It's a new lady named Anita
And
Baker.
she got on the piano. She started singing like Sweet Love and was playing. And I was like, wow.
Oh, I would pay to see her sing that.
Wow.
right now, for sure.
And
I
it
would
was
pay to
young
see
Tony
that.
Braxton.
Let me tell you
Y'all got killers from D&B.
Let me tell you something. As we said, Anita Baker. Anita Baker is anointed. Can
Yeah.
we just stop?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Absolutely.
You can stop right there, right?
No question.
I heard her sing
Yeah, no question.
Happy Birthday the other night at the Usher concert. And I my body, I felt it in my body.
Oh, yeah.
Like her tone, she just went there, just just for one note. And I said, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she was a person who people said she wasn't a good singer.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, because it's a style. It's a
It's-
style.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It was something.
And it's
we
something
hadn't
she
heard before.
perfected through the years. Because I remember her in Chapter 8. Y'all want to go way back, right? Chapter 8 was a group she was in, and she may have had another one before. I know the people in LA know in DC because they played on the Quiet Storm a lot. I Just Want to Be Your Girl. If I find a way. I don't know if you ever heard
You about
of
to
that.
have me going to look for
I'm about
chapter
to-
8.
yeah.
Can
I'm
I
definitely gonna look for chapter
play? Yeah, when you hear all that, because I studied the women too. And that's one thing I talk about in my show. Phyllis Hyman, Anita Baker, a lot of my. I found that when they were perfecting my falsetto in my lessons and all of that, I was like, oh, what else can I do? So I would harmonize with them, and I would try to keep my falsetto in a shape where when I got into the studio, I could sing the women parts too.
Yeah.
So when I was doing my own backgrounds and stuff on Never Too Busy and I'm not too busy, you know, as a recording artist, you learn your mic technique to get in.
Yeah.
But you got to be able to produce that sound.
Yeah.
So I would, think of Anita Baker sometimes. I would think of other Stephanie Mills and Jennifer Holliday. I would think of a lot of the different women who had big voices and imitate their sounds to create my background. So people would be like, who's singing your background? I'd be like, me.
Yeah.
They'd be like, oh, okay. But I got lost. I'm just having a good
No,
No, listen, man.
conversing
Listen,
with you guys, man.
We in it with you, bro.
Yeah,
but
'cause-
I started
when
just
did-
thinking about all the greats that have influenced
When did you
me.
get?
I mean,
When did the
you know.
epic thing happen for you? You said you were the
Wow, I
first
was
group when you first got
19.
signed.
You're at Howard at this point.
I was at Howard, and it was in my first year, and I got signed, and I came out of Howard, and I started hitting the road. I was in architecture and planning, and I was like, I can't. There's no way I'm going to be able to do architecture and planning. So I said, I'm going to have to drop out of school. And they said, no, we want you to just stay. And we want you to just go to fine arts, just take some classes in fine arts. And I was like, okay. And I tried that, which kept me in school a little long. I still wasn't able to stay, but I remember Denise Williams came to the school, and she was like teaching. She had people from commercials, Daryl Tukes. She had engineers come in and all that, so that we as students would not just see ourselves as artists. Because a lot of times we, young black kids coming up, all you can see is, I got to be the star.
Right.
And it's like, but there's so many other
So
things
much
out
there.
there.
Yeah.
And she said, there's nobody that can be a better you. I definitely took that home. And she made me want to be like Luther and Patty Austin and all that, who could change their voices and they could sing these commercials. And I got a chance to do Folgers. I got a chance to do, Verizon. Sing jingles.
you
That stuff is
jingles and everything.
hard. Yeah. That stuff is really hard because you can think, oh, all I have to do is sing this melody.
Nah, they want
And
it.
then it's
Yeah,
like
get
they
it.
want to hear the melody some kind of way
Yep.
that you, it's unbelievable. Like, I don't even know. If
They actually, it's not even like musical in a sense what they want to hear,
Nope.
what they're
Technical.
asking you for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't even know
they don't
how to
even-
ask you for it. And you have to just keep producing sound.
They're searching for an algorithm.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is the word now. But
Yeah.
back then, when I was like even like doing soundtracks and stuff, it's like these guys that aren't like super musical, but they're like, no, there's a thing that should be right here, and then right after that thing, we can roll over into like, and we're like,
And they know when they feel it.
they know it when they hear it.
And they're like, there it is.
There it is.
And you're like,
do that again.
oh, they just did that about 20 times.
We think
Yeah,
we,
it's like,
we've
oh.
done it for 20 times,
Right. It's like, oh.
but there is something there
That they're searching
that
for.
that I always say. Sometimes people who are not as musical as we are can just hear it a different way.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's value.
There's value.
There's value in what they're hearing because
Absolutely.
they're completely outside looking in.
Yeah.
And they're able to see something that sometimes we're blind to it.
Yeah. One of the valuable moments I've had that's similar to that is with Matt Jones, who was the A&R guy who's found me and brought me to Columbia Records. When I first started, I wanted to sing soft, like melodies over hard hip hop beats. I knew it was something about that hadn't been done. And I remember going into Dave Hall and all these producers that we were trying to do all this stuff. And thank God for Faith Evans. She had come out and she had already been in that direction.
Monster.
And I was like, oh man. So a lot of the producers I think that she worked with, they had me go in and work with. But Matt came to me one day and he said, you know that soft, like that falsetto kind of thing that you have? I want you to sing, because I was Aaron Hall in it and Charlie Wilson.
Yeah, you was getting to it.
Be your friend. You was out there.
Yeah, I was doing my thing.
Yeah.
Because that's
no.
how you used to sing over Uptempo.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then he was like, no, we want you to stand out. We want you to be different from everybody else. Oh, how affirming that was too. You know, I needed all of that to round out who I was going to be, because I didn't know who I was as an artist. You know, when I did my first album, I was just a singer, and I felt like, I think I'm a good singer. And you just go in and you do the best you can and you see what happens. And I didn't think I was a great writer. Never thought that. And I got a publishing deal before I
You gotta get to the check.
Right.
You know, that's what they do to you.
That's
What,
like
you got a deal?
You got no
Right.
publishing deal?
You got no publishing?
Oh,
Right.
come on.
Yeah,
We'll take care of you.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
So, how did Matt find you?
Because you were already in the group.
Matt was, this is years later, actually. I had recorded, I had written for Glenn Jones and John Lucien. I had done all kinds of things before my solo deal came. And I think people probably thought, oh, he's not going to do the solo thing. He's just going to stop there. And I was like, no, I'm going to keep on rolling. And so I did this demo tape, and I gave it to a friend of mine who was my manager for years after that, great friend of mine, Colin Gale. And I said, Colin, this is what I think I should sound like. Now, it's a longer story. I guess I don't. The longer story is, when I was in D.C., I felt like God said to me, your producer's in New York, and you're going to have to leave D.C. to go to New York. And I said, okay. Nobody would ever tell you, yo, Kenny's coming to him talking about God said anything. I wasn't that person. But in that moment, I said, no, God is saying to go to New York. My producer's there. So I went and I started telling people, and some people were like, psh, you know, okay. Yeah. And even the church I was going to and all that, they were very supportive though. And they said, well, if you're leaving, we're gonna give you some money to go. We're gonna give you all this stuff. And that put some pressure on me. I was like, oh.
It's a nice church.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And they were like, we're going to send you
I like
off.
my
Because
church.
I had done a whole bunch
They was
of
going to
serving,
send you off to the secular world?
They were sending me to the secular world. Because my pastor at that time said, there is nothing in Scripture that will say anything bad about a love song. You can't. Go lift a standard. So if you can imagine, when you
Did y'all
listen
grow up in the same area?
No, I didn't know.
Yeah, no.
The youth pastor of my church said, yeah, and I hope you fail. I hope you
Oh, my God. Yeah,
hope
I can
you
imagine
have to come
that.
back to God, because where you're getting ready to go,
Yeah.
God ain't there.
He about to go hang out with the Valentine.
And see, mine was like, take God there.
And that's
I
what
want
I
you to
thought
go
I
in.
was doing. I thought I
And-
was taking God there.
Yeah.
I mean,
and that's a hard place.
when we is for the Lord, man. Keep going.
No. But I did. I said, I'm going to go. I wanted to be like BB and CeCe Winans, actually. I was really coming from a gospel thing. I didn't understand the R&B thing fully. And I had a lot of problems in D.C., I think, because people have vision and they say, oh, this is what you look like. This is what you sound like. This is how we can market you. I never saw myself the way other people saw me. So, and they kept saying, oh, the women are going to do this and the women are going to do that. And I was thinking to myself, really? I really did not see myself. I never grew up with people saying you're handsome and he's fine and blah, 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 or whatever, you know, all the stuff that I got later on when I became Kenny Lattimore. I did not grow up like that. So I never took it seriously. I'd be like, oh, that's cool. That's real cool. So I went to New York and went to just pursue. So I get the support because my pastor and my mom at that time said, go lift up a standard. So if anybody wants to know, why are his lyrics like, you know, for you, I give a lifetime of stability, never too busy. Can we find forgiveness in the throes of our misunderstanding? What is the point of all that? Because R. Kelly was the hottest thing ever during that time period. And it was, you know.
We're getting in there.
And I was in a whole different area. So it was like, how do you even fit into what's going on in the world when you're kind of like not really gospel, but you're almost. So that caused a lot of problems for me, actually.
Even with the beginning with Never Too Busy?
Even in the beginning, it was a lot of people that were like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Now, when Never Too Busy hit,
Then everybody understood.
everybody was like, we kind of get it, but still, meeting me, I was the nice guy who came in. I think they wanted me to be a bad boy more. That was just the image. As a young black guy in the 90s, having my hair braided and thugged out, that was what was happening. And I kept fighting because I was like, but Whitney Houston exists. I was like, let me be a male version, and I'm not comparing my voice or anything to her, but let me be a male version of what she's representing because she comes from the church too.
Yeah.
That was, but I wasn't out campaigning like at every interview going, I'm for church. I was just behind the scenes going, y'all kind of get it? Do you kind of get it? And it was difficult.
Wow.
So when I did my second project and it was more the same, I think people were just like, okay, we have to figure it out. But by then I did have an audience who immediately came to the table when From the Soul of Man, my second project, came, and we developed from there. But it was difficult to be seen differently as a black man, as a young black man at that time period, and to say, why can't we be all of these things?
Yeah.
Right.
As opposed to being one image or like a caricature, a cartoon. Why aren't we all of these?
So what's for you?
Yes.
First hit record.
No, Never Too Busy. Before that,
Well,
right?
Never Too Busy
Yeah.
was the first single, and then I had a song called Just What It Takes that did a great time recording.
That got
It worked
you
with
to For You?
Keith Crouch. Yeah, they got
Got
me
you
to
to
For
For-
You. Yes, and I'm this is one of the few platforms where I'm really throwing out names and stuff.
Yeah, because we
it's-
know who
that's
that
so
is. We know
relevant
who
to,
come
you
on,
know,
the Crouch
so
Brothers?
I appreciate you
come on.
guys for
Kenneth,
this.
Keith.
I'd have been to the church.
Yeah.
Oh
You know
my
what I'm saying?
gosh,
Like,
yeah.
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 What do you feel an immediate shift? Because Never Too Busy was one of my favorite records.
Thank you.
The sonic on it, like I'm a producer too. So when I made it,
Dave Hall, man.
I was like, who's doing that? Who's pitch bending right there? That's not cool.
And Kipper Jones.
right there.
Ah, Kipper
Yeah.
Jones.
Kipper Jones.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, it was haunting.
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
So
Because when we finished recording it, because I want to hear your whole thought.
yeah, no, keep going.
It felt like, okay, we
It's-
didn't want to sound like anybody else. We didn't want to be, and this is different.
It's haunting, like the voicings
Yeah.
in the track alone, and then you're dancing the way you're dancing, and like none of it is interrupting. It's all complimentary. Placement is
Thank you.
all the placement is great.
That's a great record.
Yeah, I'll say thank you for them because they really
Great-
did.
Oh man,
Yeah.
great
But I
record.
appreciate
Do you see the shift then, or do you see the shift in For You in terms of the size of the artists that you are and the response to you?
Wow. When Never Too Busy came, I think I had my first glimpse of fame because I remember going to a store or something, and I walked into the store, and this young lady was standing there, and she just went, and I was like, again, because I never took anything seriously.
You laughed.
I laughed. I was like, oh, that's really sweet. And I went and I hugged her. Ah! She started screaming. And she started screaming. And she screamed. And she kept screaming. And I was thinking to myself, okay, now I'm getting ready to leave you alone because they're going to arrest me before they, they're going to be like, something he's doing,
Sir,
So,
let go of the woman,
let
sir.
go of the ones that we're going to
Yeah.
take you away. So and I thought to myself, wow, something has changed. Mm-hmm. And then I got a call too when Never Too Busy came out from Michael Jordan. And
So the Michael, you just go get the champagne.
No.
It's
No,
because
no.
listen, we've seen The Last Dance.
but
You know what I mean? I know you was the theme.
I wear all the shoes. Never call me.
Yeah. But I wear all the shoes. He's never called me.
but I was really like he called because he wanted Never Too Busy to be the theme song for the Michael Jordan cologne.
Dope.
Do you remember the cologne?
Yes. Yeah. Michael Jordan had everything.
Yeah, I was like, he had everything. He had
Because I didn't
big
write that
jeans.
song, though.
Big jeans.
Yeah, yeah, all that.
I know why Mike.
That's why he won't call your ass right there. You throwing shots at him.
Mike know them big jeans is out of pocket. He know them big jeans is, come on.
Hey man, he got a lot of money putting all them big jeans, man.
Yeah, but I mean, there's boot cut and then there's Michael Jordan cut. Hey, come on, Jordan. Come on,
Hey
Mike.
man, Black Cat gonna whoop your ass, man.
What are you trying to hide? Okay, you got all the nice shoes. Why wouldn't you want to put a slightly skinny jean on so you can show the shoe you wearing?
Get out of there. Get out of there.
All right.
Oh,
So MJ called you.
He's there. He
So it
was
starts with
song.
the first album.
The first album, yeah.
Wow.
I didn't write the song. Publishing. So this isn't even about Kipper and Dave Hall. The publishing company turns it down and says no.
Good job,
And I'm
publishing
like,
company.
yeah, I was like,
Good job.
whoa, what just happened to me? So I thought, I'll never see him again. I just thought, hey, that's, and it was, as a new artist, it was kind of devastating. Like, but at the same time, I was very optimistic that I'm just starting my
Turn it
career.
down for
man.
what though?
I think because now I'm totally speculating when I say this. So I think that anytime anybody said Michael Jordan's name, it meant money.
I mean, money. Yeah. Obviously, it was the fee.
Yeah.
It was whatever the
so
fee. Yeah.
they're not thinking, but this is not Michael Jordan the man. This is a business
Yeah.
For sure.
that is one of his separate holdings. And that budget may not be.
Exactly.
You can't look at that company and say it's the same as whatever he's making
It's Nike
to do it.
or
It's not
whatever,
Nike.
yeah.
Yes, it's a totally different business. So they turned it down and they used something else. Now, as years later, we can go into the story. Years later, I continued to be called to do launches for the shoes and different kind of stuff. That's how that whole thing started. But it started with that song and Never Too Busy.
But Mike
The song Never Too Busy, right?
But Mike became
He was a fan, man. I was like, wow. So to have somebody that he wasn't just a fan, but he was somebody who went through the industry. Like, y'all heard this Kenny Lattimore record?
Yeah.
Just like he
promoting
did.
you.
He was promoting me.
Wow.
That's dope.
That's crazy.
I read it Charles Barkley one time. He was like, who was single-handedly promoting you in the whole NBA. And I was like, well, you say it, because he was like, yeah, MJ, man. I said, wow. I didn't know that he really had talked to as many people about the music, but that he was into, he is an R&B guy. you know?
But that's what this music does, though. That's what music does.
Yes.
It gets to people, and when somebody can promote you,
Yeah.
that's a whole nother thing. It's one thing to like something,
Yeah.
but it's another thing to be like, have you heard the?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's when somebody
wait
is
till number
really
three. Watch
invested in
number
what.
three.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's when they're really invested in what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like,
And I
that's
thought,
special.
well, maybe he likes For You, and he likes, and I prepared a set because he had me sing at a luncheon one day, and the first time I sang, and he was like, you know what my song really is? It's Forever. Okay. I was like, if you know Forever,
Right, he picked the album cut.
Yeah, you pick an album because you really do
really
know his
in,
album.
yeah.
He was like, no, I really love this album. And Barry Eastman happened to be with me on that first time meeting him and singing for him. And I was like, Barry, how can we even pull this off? Because do you know Forever? For whatever reason, Barry knew that
He knew
song.
it. Yeah, he was ready.
He didn't produce that song, and I guess he was just listening to the album and
Yeah.
he knew the progressions and all that. And Michael Jordan was like, I want to bring my buddy Ahmad Rashad in, and I just want you to sing it for us. Just right now. And I said, okay, this is something else. This is something on some other level.
Just the king and his friend.
That was it.
It'll just be us two.
And I did yep. And then he said, then everybody else can come in and you can sing for the rest of them.
That's how it goes. So that's at this point for you is out, like you said, for you is out, and you're starting to really receive that admiration.
Yeah, that this is a
From the
success.
world now.
Yeah, like wow.
Have you embraced it though? Because I remember you going into the shy thing and not really understanding the compliments, or so to speak, and like, that's cute. But are you embracing it? Are you starting to own it, as we R&B cats sometimes.
Sometimes we do.
Yeah.
We over-own it.
You heard that
and
song I got?
Control it. And,
Have you heard it?
Right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah. It's the choir boy moment from Five Heartbeats. You know, I write all the
Hey,
songs.
that's
you
what's
know,
up.
I know all the I know all those parts.
Oh, man.
Did you ever have that moment where you're like, okay, I've arrived?
I don't think so.
No?
I don't think so. Even now, as I'm sharing these stories, it makes it like, whoa, yeah, that did happen. Wow, that happened. I can tell you another thing that happened to me, huge, probably the biggest thing that happened to me. All of this was happening kind of around the same time too. I get a call, and social media and websites and stuff is new. And I'm one of the first artists, maybe the first R&B artist, if not Maxwell. Maxwell might have been, or me doing social media at Sony. And we start getting messages from South Africa. And I'm like, what is this? We're reading, somebody goes, oh, Kenny Lattimore was one of my favorite artists. Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson, and Kenny Lattimore. And I'm going...
That is a group. That is a group.
Like a whole group.
How did I get into that, you know? And my mother had a huge affinity with Africa. We had African boarders growing up where she would have them live with us and teach how to become acclimated to America and things like that because she was an educator. And she worked at Howard and she worked at Lincoln University. And she did not live. That's the one thing I didn't say so far. My mom passed also during the time that Mannequin's album, during the time I actually arrived at recording and having something on a label, my mother passed. But she had put so much in me, so much love for me, my character, for people, all of that. So I arrive in South Africa, and it's like I set foot on the continent as a king. And I'm thinking to myself, what is really going on? They had promoted this music so much, and there was a political thing going because as an American artist, most of us can step foot on the continent of Africa, or particularly South Africa, and they're going to love you because they love R&B. They love it. But when I got there, men were being told that they could rape a virgin and be cured of AIDS. So if you can imagine, that was a myth in South Africa in '98. If you rape a virgin, you could be cured of AIDS. So this is spreading AIDS rapidly through the country. And then I set foot on this continent and I'm all nostalgic, thinking about my mom and all that, and everything was so much bigger than me. They needed the guy who was saying, for you, I give a lifetime of stability. The women needed to hear me say these words to them. So it was like a political movement.
Around the record.
Wow.
So I was there to sing for Nelson Mandela's 80th birthday.
You know what? Of course you did.
Yeah.
Of course you did.
So it was
Have you ever sang?
It was a very powerful, and it was other great artists. Drew Hill was with us, Shaka Khan, Stevie Wonder was with us, Najee was with us. But I just was like, I want to go everywhere, and I want to see everybody, because if this is how this music is actually affecting people, I have to be everywhere. I have to use it was like I had a superpower that I didn't know.
So you just stayed over there?
I stayed over there as long as I could, and I frequently went back. I convinced Anthony Hamilton to go for one for the. He's like huge over there now, but I remember him. We went over together for his first visit, and you go and you do stadiums, and you do, the people are crying. It was the whole Michael Jackson, the thing that you associate with Michael Jackson. I was kind of happy to see what that was like early in my career. It's like, oh, this is what it's like to not be able to go out of your room. These women are coming to my room and just crying. I mean, they're just, if they knock and they can see me, they're just crying. And it was overwhelming. I was getting some of that in the US, But over in Africa, it was on a whole different level. But then I felt like, okay, I'm really famous. Messed my head up a little bit. The next stop, I was going to Amsterdam and then through Europe. And I wasn't singing because I wasn't promoted. That's a whole different story. I was not promoted in Europe. But I got to Europe and they were like, get out the way, move out of the way. And I was like, oh, I'm back down to earth now. Okay.
Wow.
But it was an extreme just like that I needed.
Yeah.
I needed that because one of my aunts, my aunt told me, who I love so much, gosh, my Auntie Wee, she said, everybody's not going to like you. She told me that before Never Too Busy came out. And I used to feel like, why? Why are you telling me that?
Yeah,
But it was a reality, that everybody's not going to like you. So just be humble and enjoy the ride, enjoy the experience. And then in that moment, going from king to nobody knowing me again was a sense of reality and groundedness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Let me take a deep breath and pull my pants up like everybody else and start walking.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of work to do.
Right.
So I never felt like I arrived musically. And I've been affirmed by some of the greatest artists in the world, but it's just, and I always was just grateful.
I think there's a piece in what your aunt told you that I think a lot of people have to really be okay with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because, now with the emergence of social media and these comments all of a sudden being so important to people.
Yes. Oh,
Everybody is not supposed to like you.
they are. Right. Nope.
They're not. And
It's what makes the world beautiful.
it makes once you accept that, like then you can really be you and do you unapologetically.
Yeah.
For the people
Yeah.
who do like you.
Yeah.
If you don't like me, this is just not for you.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna fight hell and high water. Dude, I'm telling you, you should
gonna
like
like that.
this.
You should like
I'm
this.
telling you, I'm like that.
Yeah.
Right.
God bless you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who do you like?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
You like Kenny Lattimore? Cool. Go. This is the Kenny Lattimore song. I tried the For You song. It's
But
cool.
like
It
something.
didn't work for,
It didn't work for me.
It didn't work for me, right? But like something. I was in a parade one time. This is show that I know it was God's purpose. After my aunt told me that, I'm in a parade, thousands of people, and I'm like, hey. And I saw this one person out of the entire parade go, I do not like him. Just like that.
That's social
This girl
media,
was like,
though.
I do not.
But you know what? That's social media.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you'll
Social
have
media.
1,000 people
Yeah.
talking about how much they love you.
Yes.
And it's almost like it's in bold letters and in red when
Right.
somebody like, I can't stand your ass.
Right.
Back when social media first started, I was first getting on social media. Jay would call me at like 7:30 in the morning and say, "Why are you doing this?" I'm like, well, what they said was disrespectful, okay? Come on my page, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you come
Talk
in my
about
house.
such and such is better than me. He said out of all them comments that just celebrated you and showed you love, you saw that one comment. I said, yeah, because that's the one comment that didn't belong. Stuck out like a sore thumb. I needed to address this. You understand what I'm saying? But
And it does make you feel that way. I mean, we're still human beings. I think people don't think we're real. We're people anymore.
and it does cross the line at a certain point.
Yeah. You coming in my house and you coming to my house to talk about me. That's off.
You weren't invited.
You weren't invited. How about that?
You guys, you know it's really easy to delete their comment, right?
No, I'll leave them.
Very trying.
You know what? No, I'll leave them.
If
You
it
leave
bothers-
all
I'll
you
leave
leave
them
so
now.
people
if it
can
bothers
see
you
it.
that much.
Now that I got a
delete it.
T-Hive,
Yeah. Oh,
You know
yeah.
what I'm
They're
saying?
going to get
I
them.
let the T-Hive do the work. Get them, Hive.
Right.
Jump on them. Sometimes I say, don't let the Hive get you.
Right,
Don't
right.
you do this.
Don't
They're
break
going to
out.
come for you.
That's right. That's right. Oh,
Africa.
man.
I think I've been to South Africa once. My overseas, I think my overseas value and me taking advantage of it have a very grave disconnect. And I've been
Yeah,
trying to
you
figure
figure
that
out
out
what that is?
for the longest. Because I'm from Japan to
What was your
Australia.
label? Where'd you
with
start?
Atlantic. I started at Black Ground.
Black Ground was Atlantic.
Black Ground was Atlantic. Then it was Virgin. Then it was Universal.
It's all of that. And I get it now
Yeah.
that
Because some of the majors promote there more.
That's correct. And you have to have a connection in those particular countries. And you'll find out that the people love you, but if you didn't have a champion there, that the music would just be limited in terms of what they would hear.
Yeah,
but
you need a Michael Jordan over there.
You need him. You
need a Michael Jordan over there. You know what I mean? Where's the Michael Jordan in South Africa? Tell him, get the next Tank album.
Because I want to go. I want to go more. And I see the
Okay, I'm getting ready to go. I'm gonna find out. We're gonna figure out.
And
how
I
to get you
tell
to
guys
South
all the time. I
Who's
say,
this Tank?
guys, I'll open.
Yeah.
I'll open.
And see, I love that. What you just said, that's huge.
Because I don't like
because
this.
when you understand who you are,
It does, like, I'm not translating one thing to another.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
okay, I haven't been there before. All right, the dollar amount gonna be low. It's gonna be
But you're starting a new market.
starting a new market.
It's
We
new
got to
market,
get to
new
the
money, new people.
new people. Got to get to the people. So that's that's kind of what I want to do in my twilight after putting out all these
international market.
albums and all that stuff. Just get more international with it
Yeah.
as you have been in the stadium.
Well, no. I have been a lot of places. Thank God for the wedding song too, because that has opened so many doors. I could probably survive off just singing the wedding song.
Yeah.
You really could.
What's
and not
what's
even do
the
concerts.
if you can say, what's the biggest wedding you've done with For You? Where you looked out and you were like, am I really singing?
In terms
this
of people,
for-"
or you mean like
No, I
singing
mean, like,
for?
no, I mean, like if you're doing
You know
For
what?
You,
I
like
sang for-
what's been the biggest one where it's just like
They spent $10 million on this.
right, where you looked around and it's like, oh, this is
Carmelo Anthony and Lala.
Oh, you sang For You at their wedding.
Lala was like, since I was in high school, this was
Yeah.
my song. I said, I'm getting married to this song since I was 17 years old. And you talking about LeBron, Chris Paul,
Yeah.
Kenya Martin, Kim Kardashian, to Kelly Rowland. I
Everyone.
mean, it was like everybody
Everyone,
is
yeah,
in
of
a
course.
room.
It's heavy.
And it's decorated completely to the nines or the best possible, and they have a mini orchestra for me. So so I get to sing the first verse and walk out to the open area, and then after I sing the first verse, then she makes her entrance on the second verse. And then she comes, perfection.
Yeah, come on, La.
She's
Come on, La.
perfection, man.
That's my
And the
partner,
song is
so I
long
already
enough,
know, yeah.
Right,
for you to get all that
Get
in.
it all in, right?
Long ass song.
Short ass vocals.
I'm like, God damn, we're not done yet. My voice was like this about a minute. That's for you. I'll be back.
So
It'll
what
get you.
what takes you to the space of it's time for me to do gospel as well?
Wow. The opportunity presents itself in different ways. Every album has been something really different for me. So if I can take you through the years, when I left Columbia, Clive Davis took me to Arista. And it was almost like the way those vocal instructors, when I was telling you, each vocal instructor had a purpose, each album had a purpose for me because I was still in discovery. Clive gave me a validation because I had gotten dropped from Columbia
Oh, wow.
after the success we had, and we sold millions of records, but it was like, we're not committed to this music or for whatever reason. So he took me, I was validated. When that ended, it was a whole different thing. L.A. Reid, and so I know about being in the middle of deals too. They let Clive
because
go
Clive
in the
goes
middle
to Jay.
Yeah.
He
But
creates
then L.A.
Jay.
wanted me to stay.
At Arista.
So I'm like, and I stay. Great deals. Clive gave some great deals. So
Yeah, I know.
So I was able to, so I got a chance to move, maneuver a little bit, right? So then there's a time when that ends. I do a few albums over at Arista, a couple duet albums, and they're all successful. We end, but when I started doing duets, it was like I lost myself again. I get an opportunity from Verve. Verve signs me to do a project, and I say, let me do covers. And I got beat up for this album. I did an album called Timeless. Even though I got beat up, it was a good album.
What do you mean by you got beat up? Like people
The critics,
they
the
felt
critics,
the way about
they
you
didn't
doing
want
these
me to
people's
do
songs?
these covers anymore. He keep doing these cover songs and all that. And I brought in the great Barry Eastman again, but the album undeniably was solid. It was masterfully done, but I had lost who I was as a singer. I didn't know who I was. And you're talking about, this is 4 or 5 albums in. I had to rediscover who is Kenny Lattimore. What does Kenny Lattimore really sound like? So I had to learn that, and the best way for me to do it was to use just great songs unequivocally. I didn't write anything. I was like, great songs. After that, I was like, okay, I feel grounded as a singer again. Well, it was at another label. I probably have been at 10 major labels.
Wow.
And went to another project where for the first time I decided to be an independent artist.
And can you speak on that? For you, going from, like you said, being an artist who had been signed maybe to 10 major label deals, and finally saying to yourself, I'm going to go this independent route.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people, obviously in this day and age, it's a whole thing of, you know, major and independent and what people think is the right path. Any of the paths can be the right path. One, because you would not know who I was if it wasn't
except
for
the
the
Columbia Records spending all that money on me. Columbia, Jive, Arista, all them spending the money to say this is who Kenny Lattimore is. They may not have spent as much money on me as they did Usher or somebody else or whoever, but people still know who I was. They helped me to establish my career, and I have to be grateful for that.
They made you famous.
So being independent, I signed with EMI, and I said, I'm going to do a distribution deal, and I'm going to put this project together. I know how to do my album. I know how to do this. I know how to do it. Carvin Hagens comes in. Thank God. I don't know if you know Carvin, Music Soul Child. Yes.
Yeah.
My great friends, because I can say, I don't think they would be upset that I gave Jazzy Jeff and those guys their first opportunity to record for have their music on major labels with the soundtrack Love Jones.
Oh.
And they did a song with me. And then when I did my second CD, From the Soul of Man, they were all budding producers. And they were my little brothers who I was like, come on, y'all.
Yeah.
I think y'all are so talented. And, blah, blah, blah. And of course, the rest is history.
Of course.
And they have come back for me when I had nothing.
Amazing.
So Carvin is sitting there, you know, who I could never afford. And it's like, your voice needs to be heard. And I'm thinking, okay, here we go. What does that mean? You know, he's like, no, I mean for real. And I got some songs for you. And he had a song that he had done with Raheem Devon called Find a Way. And he was like, this is the sound that I think you should do right now. So I do the song, and I put the song out independently, only to find out that I have no idea what I'm doing. I have no clue.
Right.
I thought I knew what I was doing.
You are the infrastructure.
Yeah.
Everything falls on you.
All of it falls on you. So I knew how to take the pictures. I knew how to record the song. I knew how to make the album and do the liner notes. When it was time to promote that song, I was lost.
It's a whole nother world.
That was another, a kick in the behind that I had to learn why songs became hit songs.
Yeah,
so for all of you listening, because you're here with masters here, I can say it in this group, and you can listen. That hit songs are made.
Oh yeah,
they are not just songs that on their own become these things because they're great songs. No. It's so much effort and promotion and money and politics and all kind of things that establish a song to make it a hit song.
Yeah.
That's when I really, really got it. And thank God I was able to get E1 to buy me out of my EMI contract. And I said, this is what the album sounds like. I'll record a couple new songs. We'll repackage and make something new for E1 that I think will be successful. I spent my money. I probably spent $150,000 back then over a course of 3 years because music used to cost so much to make. But Layla Hathaway was on that album. Kelly Price was on there. Shanice was on there. J.R. Hudson was my main producer. I had all of these people come together, and we recorded an album called Anatomy of a Love Song. And that is what changed everything. It took me from just a swoop down, just right back up. And it was a song called Love Me Back that this guy named Madison did. Gosh, I know I'm going on and on with this, but I have to say...
No. These stories need to be told.
So I met Madison because being a Lattimore, people know Jacob Lattimore from The Shy now. So we're distant cousins, but we've claimed each other. Yeah, we've claimed each other from before he was born. You know, his father and all that.
The Lattimores. They had the group.
So the Lamore and everything. So we've been together for a long time, and all of a sudden Jacob comes along and becomes famous. And we're just like, oh, wow, this is really great. They wanted to do a family song for Christmas. So we record a version of This Christmas with he and I going back and forth and the brothers singing background and all that. And that's when I meet this guy, Madison, who became really like my guy, who reestablished my sound and my approach to music and everything. So a lot of times people are like, how are you doing music now after all these years and staying relevant? It's about the people you're around.
100%.
It's about the company you keep.
100%.
And how honest they are with you. Madison will tell me in a minute, nah, man, I can't hear Kenny Lattimore singing that, you know, or saying that or whatever. Or do the run differently because he can sing his behind off. He's a great artist and he's going to be coming. But he could do something that I might not be able to do it the way he did it.
Yeah.
But he has the sensitivity to produce me and at the same time the respect of my legacy.
Yeah.
And because of him, he has just about single-handedly produced most of the albums that I've done since then.
Yeah.
And,
But it goes back to your humility as well, of you being able to listen.
Well, thank you.
We talk about this all the time. The biggest issue, especially with legacy artists, is listening.
Yeah. You know, that's true, because I never wanted to be, and I've heard this before. Oh, I'm Kenny Lattimore. This is the Kenny Lattimore sound. Do you want the Kenny Lattimore sound? I've heard that, but do you want the Kenny Lattimore sound?
Right. But there's no you can't continue to grow in that.
No, you can't. And I agree 100%. I promise you, I always felt like if the music industry has changed, there's a new lesson for me. So I have to go back to school.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to go back to school.
But you're forever a student. Your mother was a teacher. Your mother was an educator. So I get it. It makes perfect sense.
My grandmother was a teacher.
And so you get that whole thing. But what's even better is when you hear yourself back and you go, whoa, yeah, I did that.
Yeah.
And I actually fit. And not I did that like I'm so dope, but just that it doesn't sound like I'm trying. I don't think, so I got to test it. Dude, does it sound like I go to my boy Q, my manager over Q.
Yeah.
Q, does it sound like I'm trying to sing that? Does it sound like I'm trying to be 25 again? And when I get that, no, it's all, this is dope. It sounds good.
Yeah.
We move from there, but we put ears on it. We put eyes on things. And my wife now, she ain't letting nothing come out this crazy. She's like, a picture, nothing. She's like, She's like, I'm dedicated to the Kenny Lattimore brand. No.
Oh, that's nice.
That's
so having
exciting.
people like that around you.
And the fact that she's a judge too. So it's like, after she does this,
That ain't cool.
she's like, what's next?
Hard to argue in that.
Yeah.
This is the one that's sitting, that's final.
And I do. How about y'all? I'm gonna keep it real. I argue with her all the time. I don't care about that. I don't care. It looks like me. I don't care. No.
So you're arguing with the judge.
I'm arguing with the judge, and I end up just walking out and letting
I was about to ask, how does that work out for you, brother?
Go ahead and do your thing, baby.
Okay, all right.
That's dope. So what is the now? What is Kenny Lattimore right now, 2022?
Right now, I have this new project called Here to Stay.
Yeah.
And I have to say, the Here to Stay is my dedication to this R&B thing. There have been times when I've wanted to leave it. There have been times when I've wanted to just do something else, and not just doing different genres, because I I did a Christmas album for Motown. I got to do the gospel because I was on that journey and telling you all the different things. I got to Anatomy of a Love Song, which taught me how to be a record executive. But then I got to do the gospel because you asked me about that with Kenny Lattimore Christmas for Motown. Then after that, I went back and I did another independent album, but I understood that I needed some other support. So I did an album called Vulnerable with a company called Liger, who I've had some good sports people with me. The Big Hurt. I don't know if you know the Big Hurt, the baseball player.
Yeah,
okay, so he invested
Frank
in that
Robinson.
album. Yes. So Frank did that album, and then afterwards I did my latest, Here to Stay. So through the years, I've had to learn how to be an independent businessman, a record executive. I had to build my team, my promotion team, my other parts of my staff, so that we could keep rolling. But I've been fortunate. I probably have maybe 4 top 10s.
Nice.
Through the process of it
Independently.
independently.
Yeah.
And all of them were written by Madison. Wow. And I kept saying, we're going to make you some money. We're going to keep the money rolling. You keep on coming with these hits and coming up with stuff and challenging me. Like you said, if you listen to this album, there's a song called Lose You. Totally different than you would think. Some people will say, I think they can always hear my voice because my tone might be different or whatever, sounds a little different. But the approach is definitely fresh and new because I take lessons from Madison.
How old is
So
Madison?
that's where I am today. Like 30.
Yep. Gotta keep
Stay
some
locked
young,
in.
Might be
some
30,
young
yeah.
Thundercats
Stay
around.
locked in
There
with
it
it.
is.
Come on,
There it
you know
is.
what we need now, baby.
Yeah.
You know what we need.
And then learning how to perform it live. That's the hard part because it goes all the way full circle in the conversation back to you talking about For You. Man, I had to learn how to sing. I had to do a song called Pressure.
I like Pressure too.
And
I like that record.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I had to learn how to sing it. Because at first, I don't know, because I wanted to move with it.
Yeah.
And even with Take a Dose, because of the falsetto and going back and forth between my natural and falsetto and finding the places in my body to produce a sound, it makes me perform it different, you know. So that, you know, sometimes you come out and you feel like you could stand. I could stand in one place and I could sing these songs. Yeah. But when I'm working, I'm a person that jumps around the stage a lot. I walks the stage a lot. A lot of people think because of For You that I'm going to get up on a stool and I'm just going to sit down. You're going to be singing all night, and I'm not that guy. I'm very aggressive on stage, and doing that and singing falsetto stuff, like it's hard. So it took me a minute to find those places in my body, but once I found them, it's like I fly. As long as my band and everybody's comfortable, it's like they create the bed behind you, so that you can, they lock in. You can just do you can do anything.
Wow,
that's what it feels
that's
like.
dope.
So I'm enjoying live performing more than ever.
I'm sure you're killing though right now because, you know, for that R&B, for that time, it's like it's prime time now.
Yeah, it is.
You're
is.
prime time.
It is.
now.
Oh,
like
man,
as we do these, I always talk about these R&B parties that we do all R&B music. Like it's all of the music.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
from that era,
From that era.
and everybody in there is waiting for their favorite song.
Right.
From that, I mean, we're doing one in Vegas. You know what I mean? A doo-wop in Vegas after the Soul Train Awards, and it's gonna be like all R&B.
I love it.
You know what I mean? And so I know you're working.
Yeah.
I know
Well,
you're
by the time you did Tevin Campbell, let me tell you something. When you did Can We Talk, you single-handedly promoted that to a whole nother. Now we all knew that Kevin Campbell is amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
And but the fact that you brought that to the attention, you brought it to the attention of the world.
I had no idea.
You had no idea.
Nah,
And
he
that's
was
the
trying
best
to do that. Yeah.
is that it's
Yeah.
organic. You use
was
your platform
literally-
to just say what you felt in that moment.
It was literally like fun, and it came from being at a party and that song being on and trying to sing it full out.
Right? It's like, wait a minute.
Failing to myself. I
Right.
failed to myself. I was like, anybody heard that? Y'all
Right.
heard it? Good, good.
Let me go practice.
Let me
real
practice
quick.
this one.
And then you find out that everybody's thinking the same thing.
Right.
That is a hard
Everybody's scared of the
song
note.
to sing, right? So it was like just getting into that, and I had seen, what's my guy? What's the kid? Really good singer. I seen Avery Wilson.
Wilson.
Oh man,
I'd
yeah,
seen
he's
him,
really
seen
good.
him sing it
Yeah.
first.
He's
was
like-
it him or was it Mario?
A beast.
Either
Both
one.
One of the
them.
two. Both
Yeah.
grunt.
Amazing
I had
vocals.
seen them sing it first, and I was like,
Wow.
that's a song you got to be able to sing.
Yeah.
In order to sing.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
And it just took on a life of its own. And I think that it just speaks back to the music,
Yeah.
how just important good songs are.
Absolutely.
Still.
Absolutely. And that people are really getting into the voice again. We went through that whole period. You got to sound like somebody else.
Yep.
Oh man, that was hard. But I listen. My son is 19 now, and I'm like, who are you listening to? What's going on? So he introduces me to people as well, and tone again. Now people into voices. Alex Isley's voice.
Talk about how
It's like, it's like, but
Best
I met her and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm thinking just the Isley family and all that, but her voice, is gorgeous. There's so many different singers, and then Lucky Day is finding another way of presenting classic R&B and mixing it into.
I like that.
I mean, it's so many different things that are happening right now.
Giveon and his.
Oh my gosh,
right in
Giveon.
here with her, just right there, like real Keith Staten.
Yeah. Oh
yeah.
man, all of those textures are what made R&B great from the beginning. When you listen to Gladys and Patty and Shaka and Aretha and all of them, they distinctively were themselves, where you knew each voice.
It came on.
No, and it's a resurgence.
Yes,
It's absolutely a resurgence at this point of the newer artists, like you said, being who they are.
Yeah.
It's just, this is my voice.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to sing like or sound like anyone else. I mean, you got your Chris Brown clones.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
gonna always have that because he's at such a high level.
High level, yeah. We understand the business.
If you want to go that route and get to where he's, or think you're going to get to where he's
You got to
at,
use pieces of
you
it.
got to use pieces of it, and that just happens.
It's true.
But
It's true.
the majority I found, even just from people that send us music and people who may just run up on you in the airport and start singing, is that there's some very, very unique young voices right now that you can just pick out and say, oh, that's Brent Faiyaz.
Oh yeah,
That's
Yeah.
you know what I mean. Even when he was in he was in Sounder, he was like, okay, that's actually that's the same kid singing
Right.
both. You know what I mean? So it's like it's very distinctive, and I love where it's going personally.
Yeah.
I love where it's going, and I feel like they're paying homage to the 90s, the early 2000s. Like this is now what our generations did with the early 80s or the 70s, and you know what I mean, the Marvin Gayes, and you know what I mean, and Michael Jackson and Prince.
Yeah.
Now the younger generation is doing the
finding that,
same thing with finding that real, true, dirty R&B.
Yeah.
It started to get dirty in the 90s.
When she starts to sing, and I'm like, that's some of it's Erykah Badu.
Oh, for sure.
But it's still her own thing.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it that mixture together. I have, like we were laughing earlier, man. I've borrowed from so many people.
You and me both.
Stevie, my absolute favorite, man. I've borrowed so much,
No, we're gonna get to that. He
Hold on,
said
yeah.
one because we getting into the favorites.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay.
it's coming.
It seemed like he want to go there.
I mean, listen,
okay.
Seemed like he want to go there.
great segue.
Want to go there? Great segue.
Great segue.
First of all, shout out to Stevie Wonder.
Yes.
I thought you had to wiggle your head in order to get the notes out, so that's why I copied them. And everybody's like, "Why don't you stop wiggling your head?" I'm like, "I can't." Okay, Stevie Wonder is who taught me.
Get
All
them
right.
notes and those runs out.
So here we go, Mr. Kenny Lattimore. You do a lot of history talking when you talk. You throw out a lot of historical names when you talk. We want to know your top 5 R&B singers,
Wow.
male or female.
Male or female.
Your top 5. I know it changes, it fluctuates, depends on the day and how you feel.
Can I put male in a different category? It used to be that they were separated, and I know the Grammys don't
listen,
separate.
you-
it
you
anymore.
He about to start talking that talk. yeah.
They don't separate this stuff no more. Like it's very hard to compare women's voices and men's voices for me, but I'll try. If that's
No,
what you like.
it's your top 5. I just said it could be
Yeah.
a list with men and women, but however you want to do it, your list, top 5.
Let me give you my guys. I can't, not in this order in particular.
Yeah.
Stevie's there.
Yeah,
Luther Vandross's voice. Marvin Gaye's voice.
yeah, it's gotta be.
You know what? I got to give People Bryson's voice.
Yeah, come on, people. Yeah.
Man, I only have one more that I just to put in the mix. Teddy Pendergrass.
Great.
And the reason why I think all those 5 is because they had the ability to do so many different things with their voices. They could caress a song, and they can blow a song out. So much versatility.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's not only. Can I go an honorable mention? This is on the gospel side. Somebody I listen to quite a bit who is amazing, and who totally shaped my idea of singing, and that's Daryl Coley.
I was getting ready to say, you are from the tribe of Daryl Coley. Oh, my mama.
Yeah. And I'm sorry I didn't say Donny Hathaway either. Okay. Oh, God. See, it could go on and on. Okay,
on.
I got it. Okay, I'm going to stop there.
Because I just started looking into the tribe of Daryl Coley.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, there's Joe.
Yeah.
There's Mario. And then when you were just singing, I was like, you got a lot of Daryl Coley on you.
Oh, man.
I mean, his control was
Nice.
ill.
Special.
Yeah.
He was the first on-demand singer I'd ever seen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just on demand.
Yeah.
Dial up. Just
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much
easy
what he's
to-
just been doing this whole
And
time.
land
Just
where he
dialing it
went.
up.
He's just been dialing it up. This whole, just, he'll just break
man.
out
Yeah,
and just,
yeah.
go into chamber music. Like
You know
like-
what?
like-
That's just not being afraid. Even if I had cracked or whatever,
Just is what it is.
when you get to a certain time in your life, it doesn't matter. It's like a human moment. Shaka was like that in Echoes of an Era in the 80s. I remember reading a liner note where she said, I want people to hear my voice crack. I want them to hear the rawness of my voice. And at that particular time, I think it was very important. I listened to that, and that also made me not care as much
at all.
because we're human.
Listen,
Jasmine Sullivan ain't
Mary J.
no man.
Blige made me say, is that what we doing?
Right?
Okay, we gonna give it all of it?
All of it. You
Oh,
don't leave
no matter
nothing on
what? Got it. She's the queen of I'm giving you everything I got.
Very true.
And you gonna like it.
And that's what
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
the originators did, though. That's what the James Browns of the world did.
they went there.
yeah.
Yeah, James, man. I mean, think of all the stuff he could do with his voice. I mean, we know him.
He was a
for-
monster.
We know, because we know the get on up, but he could
was a
sing,
monster
sing.
vocalist.
Sang.
It's the same way they don't give Rick James his credit.
Oh,
Monster vocalist.
super talented. Yeah.
Okay, here we go. We still go. Top 5 R&B songs.
Ooh, man.
You get tricky.
Maybe go back to the guys and go as for Stevie.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, because the song was translated many times, A House is Not a Home, because of its ability to be transformed as well. Songs, though, whew, great songs. Purple Rain.
Shout out to Kenny Burns for
just
inviting us to a
having
birthday
his
party.
birthday
We were
party
able to go
at
to the
Paisley
Paisley
Park.
party. You
Oh,
probably were there
nice,
before.
nice.
We sure you
He's
were
been
there
there.
No, I
before.
never went.
Probably
I
you,
never went.
Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley.
I got a call,
and
but
Nelson
I never
He said,
Mandela.
I got the call.
Oh, you passed up on going. All right, even better.
You know, a very simple but great song that's been covered so much too. Love Ballad.
Yeah.
That
Yes.
Jeffrey Osborne.
Come on,
I know
J.O.
When I think of his, and another these are cover songs because I got to go back to Donny Hathaway. The Song for You, just a great song.
Straight ahead.
Yeah, straight ahead, simple. Those are the simple R&B.
Monsters.
Yeah.
For You by Kenny Lattimore. Sung by Kenny Lattimore.
Sang
but-
by. Yeah. The Kennys did it. The Kennys did it.
honestly, one of the most brilliant songs I've ever heard. Yeah.
So
And,
did you sing it at their wedding too?
Yes, I sang it at their reception. Actually, they're Catholic, so you couldn't sing it in the church. At least back then, you couldn't.
Oh, wow.
But I sang it at their reception. Wow.
And this is before it ever comes out.
Before it ever came out. Yeah. Wow. And I asked him. I said, "Could I put this on my demo?" He was like, "Yeah, sure." But we were in that kind of space anyway. Where
Yeah.
He was writing, and we were trying to make it together. And my mother used to say it. She said, "Something's going to happen. It's going to be Lattimore and Liram."
Yeah.
She said that before she
Oh,
died.
that's dope.
Wow.
That's dope. So it's true if someone tells you, yeah, I was at this reception back in the day, and I told them, and then they go to, they do the LeBron thing. Well, I told them, and I knew already that it was gonna happen before it happened.
Yeah,
so it really did happen.
Really did.
You
happen.
really did sing this
It
song
really
at
did happen.
somebody's reception,
which
before
makes
it
it
ever come up.
authentic and just not
Way- it's just
pretentious.
way different.
We didn't
Yeah.
sit down and go,
Yeah.
let's come with a wedding song that's gonna make us a bunch of money. And
It wasn't even that. It was
Yeah.
just it
Organic.
was the true sentiment.
Yeah, it
of
was
the
literally
moment.
this is how I feel
Living
about
in the
this.
moment.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
great.
we're gonna do R&B Voltron. Okay, we're gonna create your perfect R&B singer. We're gonna ask you where you want to get, who you would get the vocals from, who you would get the styling from, who you would get the performance style from, and who you would get the passion from. Let's start with the vocal. Who are you getting the vocal from to build your R&B artist?
Wow. I would start with the voice of. Okay, let me think. Let me go outside of where I've been. We'll start with Jasmine Sullivan. I'm gonna take her voice.
Mm-hmm.
It's a whole lot of those qualities that are all in her.
It's a
right
mean
there. So
vocal. I know what you're
yeah,
saying.
so
Like
like
all
all
the
of-
pieces that
it's
have
like,
come before
she
her
got all the-
are
they're
morphed
already
into, into her. Okay.
but
yeah.
the next one was performance style.
No. Next one is, well, we can go performance style. Let's go.
Okay, performance style meaning stage.
Stage.
Stage presence.
Erica Badu. Fearless.
Yeah. And she
I've seen
controls
Erica-
the crowd.
Erica Badu controls the crowd even when she's not on stage. I opened for Erica Badu,
Oh,
and
my
it seemed like they were told or they knew
Not to like you.
not to like me or not to like anything happening until she came on stage. I'm
love
sweating.
it.
I know I'm singing great. I'm
Man.
performing great. I'm gyrating at the hips.
They're like that ain't it, champ.
They like, that ain't it.
That ain't it.
You ain't got no incense, champ. Where your tea at? You ain't got no tea. And she walks out there with some sage burning and starts pouring her tea, and they go.
Yes,
I was like, this.
yeah, turns them out.
Somebody
turns
told
them
y'all
out.
to do that. Yeah,
But at
Erica
the same time, the confidence.
owns it. She owns it.
Jill Scott has that same.
Yes.
Like
It's the
person-
same
Yes.
kind of. It's the same kind of
Yeah,
stand there and
yeah.
look you in your face.
I'm
Like
here.
And it's like
Smiling.
no matter how many thousands of people it is, it feels like they looking you right in your face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Saying
very
you.
personal.
Very
It's
personal.
very personal.
Yeah.
I love.
Yeah, no, that microphone video she did was very personal when I watched. I was like, oh, this is great. This is great.
Styling. Who do you want your artist to look like? What they putting on? Who put that thing on for you?
Sade. We're gonna keep it just
Yeah,
classic,
clean.
simple, clean, sexy.
It's just it's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's always beautiful.
It's a ponytail.
Yeah.
It's
It's a ponytail.
Yeah.
it's never too much.
Never too
Yeah.
much. Yep. Yep.
It's always right. How does she do that? Always right. I've never seen Sade out of pocket.
Yep.
Have you seen her in person?
I have not. That's
I
one
got
person I've never
one.
met.
I got something over King Lattimore.
Yeah.
I got one thing.
Oh, one thing.
I got one thing.
I'm sure you got a list.
I got one thing.
I felt like I'm like, is he searching?
I've been searching on pod. He's killing me right now. He like he up 9-1. All right. Now who you getting the passion from? The heart of the artist.
Ooh. I think the passion has got to come. Still, I think I'm thinking the passion's got to come from an older artist, like Aretha, who,
There's no argument in that.
yeah, who is another one who would leave it all on the floor too, like
was a killer.
Mary. That's why the comparison. I believe that
Aretha was a killer.
yeah.
Ahead of her time. So far ahead of her
Oh my
time.
gosh,
though.
yeah, and could do everything.
Anything. A killer though. You
yeah.
could like there are certain singers that can sing
Yeah.
and that'll do what they can do.
Yeah.
You know, perform their shows and do all the but I always got the sense that Aretha was making sure you knew this different.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
That's why she
don't know what them other people doing.
Yeah.
But this right here,
It's different.
this is
It's different. Yeah.
And I think she was that way all the way to the end.
yeah. She got on
Yes.
that piano.
All the yep.
Go crazy.
I like what you did though. You know, he used all the male, top 5 male, and then you went back to the women. I see what you're doing.
Because
I see
it's
what
like it's
you're
hard
doing.
to compare men and
Smart
women
man.
their voices
Smart, you
and,
know
and
what you're
all
doing.
that.
Doing this a
Because
long
there's so
time.
many different nuances, and I have to give some honorable mentions. This person had the passion, the look, the uniqueness, fearless. Phyllis Hyman. And was so studied. And when she did jazz, she was just impeccable. And when she did R&B, she was impeccable. I mean, just another like monster.
great.
Like where you just sit back. Whew. But then you want also, I got the one gospel person at least and put Karen Clark Sheard in just to say fearless. Mama, I saw her in an interview. She said, Mama told me to just bust that place wide open every time I sung. That's the kind of passion that she had every time. Because we come from that gospel root. A lot of us did, you know, the Gladys Knights and so many people that when you think of why people can flat foot stand there, everybody has a story, you know. Everybody has a great story too.
But I think the fearlessness, right? I was watching an interview with Iman Shumpert, and he was talking about Carmelo Anthony, and he was like, "Man, I'm yelling. I'm like, bro, I'm wide open. You know what I'm saying? They collapsing 2 on you. You know what I'm saying? And then you just you shooting the ball." And he's like, and he said, Carmelo looked at me and said, "Listen, I work on that." He trained for those difficult moments.
Yeah.
So you're fearless because you work on impossible things. You're at the house pushing yourself. You're pushing the boundaries and continuing to push the line of what even what you think you're capable of.
Yeah.
So by the time you get in front of an audience,
Doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Oh, can I say, Iman's wife, Tiana.
A full talent, full gift.
Okay, I got
Special.
another little flex though. And she grew up as my cousin. Look,
Wait, that's family too?
that's family, but through marriage.
Yeah.
And our families are not connected in the same way that they were. But I got a chance to see her from the beginning.
Wow.
Yeah.
And to see her from the beginning, she's the same.
Absolutely.
It's like she came into the world
I've known her since she
this
was
big.
Yeah.
15.
Yeah, she came. It's like she came in like
I was at her
that.
showcase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was at her first showcase in LA.
The one down in Santa Monica.
Yep.
When
Yep.
she was doing Google Me Baby.
Yep. Yeah.
I know for real.
Yeah, over at
a bunch of people
Interscope.
that- Yep,
Over at
Interscope.
She's a monster talent.
And sometimes she I don't know if you got it. Yeah, definitely. She needs to tell her story about how to manage artistry, because to be associated with some of the huge giants and craft a career, and it was at a strange time when her career was starting. I can't really tell her story or anything like that. But yeah, it would be interesting. I should probably be asking these questions. Like when I think about new artists coming, she was just a force. I think a force that could not be stopped.
Yeah.
Still is.
Yeah, and she still is.
Still is.
So everything she touched, everything she did, I think people understood that this is a true influencer and it's organic again. And we're in that age where artists have to be that, where I didn't have to be that necessarily. I guess I did.
Listen, we did.
We had time to grow into it.
We had we were the last generation where it was kind of served up to us.
Yes. Yeah.
Here's your directors, pick one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's the treatment, pick
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Here's your stylist, pick one.
Yeah. Tiana Taylor's out here. She
Tiana-
is the stylist.
She is a stylist.
She is the director.
Is the video director.
and the
Is the
choreographer.
dance
She's gonna-
choreographer.
Or she's going to
Yeah.
choose. She
Yeah.
knows this is the right person.
Her and
this
that
is the
Chris
right
Brown and
Yeah.
those alien kids,
yeah.
Yeah.
they're just different.
Yeah.
And I love them to death. Them my babies right there.
Yeah,
I love them.
Absolutely.
Jay, get him. I know he got something. I know he got something.
I know he got something.
I know he got something.
I want to see if he gonna go there with us.
He
though.
gonna go there.
So we got,
I believe.
we got a segment of the show.
Okay.
Very important segment.
Okay.
Probably most important. Probably most important.
Really important, man. It's called I Ain't Saying No Names.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes, sir. It's a story. It can either be funny or fucked up.
Okay.
Or funny and fucked up.
Okay.
The only rule to the story and the game is you just can't say the names.
Okay.
You can't say who was with you.
Not say it.
You can't say who was with you.
Okay.
Or who was against you.
Or whose house it was. Or whose shoot program it was a part of. Can't say none of that.
Oh.
So right now we're gonna introduce it. This is Kenny Lattimore's I Ain't Saying No Names.
Oh boy.
Take a sip.
Get a sip, man.
Hydrate. Get hydrated.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. He's a veteran. Takes his time. Muddle over his drink. Look at his drink.
I'm trying to keep it classy. Let's see here.
I mean, we ain't saying no names, so you can,
Technically, you might not even been there. Okay.
Right. Ooh, I'm really thinking, y'all. I'm really trying to pull it together.
We here, baby. We here.
Q, you want to jog on my memory? He might be like, "Ooh, that happened. Oh, whoa." Right. I gotta give you something simple. Let me think here. This was a funny moment for me. This may not be. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it simple. This was a funny moment for me, but it's an early moment. This person, if they realize who they are, I love you tremendously. But this really did happen. A person is sound checking, and they don't want anybody to look at them while they're sound checking because I think they're still evolving. This person is an amazing artist too, yeah, and somebody who I'd love to work with, but they didn't want people to look at them. So we're sound checking, and we're sitting, and the person's like, I don't want people looking at me because, you're out on. There's a group of people that are traveling together. Can you lower the lights? And the lights go down to maybe like where they are now. And the person's still not comfortable. And they're like, can you lower the lights more? And the sound people get upset. And all of a sudden, boom, the whole place is pitch black. And we all are just sitting there in pitch black darkness in an arena. And then the lights come back on. And of course, the person just walks off the stage.
So do they sing when it goes pitch black, or they don't sing then either?
No, they're pissed. They're pissed. It's like you just embarrassed me in front of everybody just to turn my. But as opposed to just making it sensual, and they just shoot and they're gone, and it's like next, and we're all like, whoa, oh, okay.
And this is the only business you can get away with that
Only
in.
business.
You can't get away with that in anything. I want to do my shoot around in the dark.
Yeah, but the sound stuff and the lighting people, I'm not saying no names. I'll give you one more. I'm out on a tour.
We're getting a double.
And I'm helping to promote some new acts that are on Columbia. And we're touring. And one of the acts decides to choke out the sound man. Choke out the sound man. Okay.
Don't play with my sound, baby.
And of course, it's kicked off the tour. And but it's always interesting when somebody's advertised and all that kind of stuff. You got to come in. You can't really say what happened. You can't really, and all we can do is smile. And the show must go on.
The show must go on.
And you go on and you do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got the lights off.
Oh yeah, we got the lights off and the choke out.
And the choke out.
Those are my R&B, my nice stories.
It is crazy how artists be like, don't look at me, or clear the hallways, or
Oh,
Hey,
my
clear the
goodness.
hallways is
Yeah,
hilarious.
clear the hallway. Mhm.
Clear the hallways is hilarious.
and I'll be like, what?
Yeah.
Why?
Why?
I think I feed off of people in the energy.
Yeah.
While I'm
you
walking,
a vibe person.
while I'm
anyway.
walking to the
It's
stage.
like, wow, they're here. They're here.
Like it's like, but even seeing the other artists that are on, that are on the bill, like, what up, boy, you killed it. That was crazy. I'm gonna try to do a little something.
Right.
I heard you.
Right.
I'm gonna try to get, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I see you. I see, like, all of that energy. I think is so dope and needed. But I guess
maybe
to
people
each his
getting in
own.
their zone. It's just
Yeah. Everybody's zone is different.
Everybody's zone is different.
I can't be mad. But listen, my brother, Mr. Kenny Lattimore, you're awesome, brother.
thank you.
You're awesome.
Amazing.
You are
Man.
both of you are awesome.
Thank you,
and I
appreciate
appreciate you having me, giving me a voice to
No,
on, man.
no,
Tell
you
all my
you deserve,
stories.
Well, you deserve that, and
Thank you.
there are, of course, more than you know, people who look up to you, people who respect you.
Thank you.
And people who want to hear from you. Right? We were talking to Mike City the other day, and we were like, the information that we have is so necessary. It is necessary to preserve the art form.
It's true. It's very true.
And so we have to be proactive
Yeah.
with making sure that information and those teachings continue.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
My son wants to be a part of this industry and is a part of it actually already, because I've given him the opportunity to work professionally in it and everything. But I agree with you 100% because, one, he has the benefit of me, but I still don't just put him on.
Yeah.
I want to see, do you have the passion for this? Because a lot of times people don't really have the passion for this. And the first little thing that happens, I'm tired, I'm this, I'm that.
Yep.
And the respect of what we've done through the years and what we've sacrificed is so important. I think that some of the talent shows have been rough too, as much as they've identified some really amazing artists like American Idol and stuff like that, have identified some amazing artists. All those other people that didn't make it,
Yeah.
that may have gotten some television exposure or what have you. Sometimes I think some of them, not all of them, of course, have come in a little jaded that this is going to be my instant.
Yeah.
It's been a part of that instant
not how
fame
this thing works.
thing.
That's how it works.
And I don't take my son through unnecessary things, but in order to teach him, I tell him struggle will make you stronger. If you don't exercise muscles, if you're not pushing against anything, your muscles will be weak.
Not gonna grow.
And you're not going to be ready for what the world is going to throw at you.
Because there
So,
will be opposition.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely. Yep.
Well, listen, man, we love you.
Thank you. Love you
We
back.
appreciate
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
I am Tank,
I'm J Valentine.
and this is the R&B Money Podcast, the authority on all things. Been waiting to say that. R&B.
Yeah.
And we have living proof right here in Mr. Kenny Lattimore.
Yes, sir.
R&B money.